Good morning, everyone. It's Friday, February 12th. From the San Antonio Express News, my name is Luis Vasquez, and this is your Express Briefing. All of the stories you need to know to start your day. You can expect a high of 42 degrees and cloudy skies in San Antonio today. Although the forecast calls for highs in the low 40s again Saturday, an Arctic blast arriving Sunday night will bring cold that could break records. Tax season, which starts today, presents a unique challenge in 2021. From last year's recession to a soaring stock market, enhanced unemployment benefits and economic stimulus payments, even ordinary tax filers face changes. We have everything you need to know over on our website. The Spurs embarked on their annual rodeo road trip yesterday, ahead of tonight's game against the Atlanta Hawks. By the time they return to the AT&T Center to face New Orleans on February 27th, the Spurs will have a better idea which direction their season is headed. And now let's move on to our top stories for the day. About 1 out of every 4 visitors to the Riverwalk isn't complying with safety rules requiring masks, according to the San Antonio Police Department, the San Antonio Riverwalk Association, and restaurant owners. Mayor Ron Nirenberg said he asked city administrators during the holidays for stricter enforcement of mask wearing on the Riverwalk. But local enforcement is restricted by state rules, which say first-time violators receive just a warning. Since the holidays, more visitors have been crowding walkways along the river. We talked to a few about why they weren't wearing a mask. San Antonio International Airport could be in for a mammoth makeover that would include demolishing and replacing Terminal A, which is as cramped as it is nondescript, and building a third terminal. Terminal B could also be renovated in the next 2 decades. The potential price tag for a redone Terminal A and a new Terminal C is about $2 billion, which would make the airport's redevelopment one of the biggest capital projects in the city's history. Airport officials presented the proposed redesign at community meetings this week. Though still a work in progress, the plan represents the most detailed picture to date of what the second-tier airport could look like in the near future. Head over to expressnews.com to find out everything we know. Texas's civil commitment program for sexually violent offenders has earned a reputation as an unforgiving place. Much of that is by design. Each of the 378 men in it has already served his full prison term. After their sentences were up, Texas evaluated them as too likely to reoffend, however, so they were ordered to be kept locked up indefinitely until ready to rejoin the free world. Their average age is nearing 60. The Texas Civil Commitment Office is tasked with striking a difficult balance, protecting the public while providing the men a clear path to rejoin society. But 5 years after lawmakers overhauled the program, a chorus of critics contends the state still hasn't gotten it right. As more electric vehicles hit the road, city council members last week okayed a contract that will see more than 140 chargers installed at 32 sites on city property throughout San Antonio. But it wasn't without controversy. The city is contracting with Blink Charging, known as much for its white-hot stock as its network of vehicle chargers. Blink has seen its share price grow exponentially over the past year as investors have gravitated towards clean energy and electric vehicle stocks, companies assumed to be riding the decarbonization wave. Blink's stock price gains, nearly 2,300% over the past 8 months, have outpaced the growth of the company's revenue and the size of its network. Find out why some people see that as a problem in Diego Mendoza Moyer's latest story. Next up are your need-to-know headlines. You can find all of these headlines and more inside of your Express News subscription. A recent report by the State Auditor's Office reveals more than half of the $136 million in state funds provided over the past 5 years for restoring and operating the Alamo have been spent, noting the massive project to improve the site has encountered major obstacles. Representative Lyle Larson of San Antonio filed legislation to expand Medicaid, becoming the first Texas Republican in years to actively push the Obama-era measure that would bring billions of dollars in federal aid to combat the state's booming uninsured rate. In his latest column, Gilbert Garcia says Larson chooses common sense over partisanship. Although San Antonio's healthcare workers are beginning to see slight reprieve, deaths from the virus remain high. Nuremberg reported Thursday that 22 more Bexar County residents died of COVID-19 in the last 2 weeks. San Antonians will have the opportunity to vote on city council members May 1st and also will make decisions on 2 major charter amendments, whether to essentially gut the police officers' union and whether to give the city more power on how to use bond money. The 2 ballot measures were approved during Thursday's meeting. At least 5 people were killed and dozens injured Thursday in a massive crash involving 75 to 100 vehicles on an icy Texas interstate, police said. Solar farms keep cropping up around Texas, and the state now produces as much solar power in 1 month as it did in all of 2015. Buc-ee's, the Texas-based convenience store chain known for its beaver mascot, clean restrooms, and Texas barbecue, is making its way into a new state with an expansion to Florida this month. First-time claims for unemployment benefits fell in Texas and across the country last week, providing another sign that the economy is improving, economists said, but not fast enough to help millions of jobless Americans. San Antonio-based asset management company Victory Capital Holdings registered a record financial performance in 2020 despite challenges presented by the pandemic. Rush Enterprises, owner of a network of North American commercial truck dealerships, saw its revenue and profits decline by 19% in 2020, even as the economic blow dealt by the pandemic softened in the second half of the year. The Express News editorial board writes, quote, "In Texas, lawmakers have focused on how to strip rights away from the transgender community, to exclude transgender people and reinforce through statute a pervasive sense of otherness." Read the full editorial over at expressnews.com. Lou Hill, the head men's basketball coach at Texas Rio Grande Valley since 2016, was on the court Saturday night for a 77-75 loss to Texas Southern in Houston before dying at the age of 55. UTSA coach Steve Henson was a longtime friend. Next month, the Spurs will be the envy of the NBA again. Not only will they be in a new race for a playoff spot, their best players are almost sure to get a weekend off. Head over to expressnews.com to read the latest from Mike Finger. For 104 years, ranchers, tourists, actors, presidents, and fashionistas have been coming to Paris Hatters for their custom-fitted headwear. Inside the downtown store, hundreds of hats hang from the walls, sit in stacks on shelves, and wait in boxes in back rooms. The original cash register, which still works, sits on a countertop. Abe Cortez runs the business with his wife, Mirna Cortez, and their daughter, Alexandra Cortez Sledge. The family recently discussed their business, e-commerce, and how they customize hats. Check out our Q&A with them over at expressnews.com. Never underestimate the soothing power of llamas. Just ask Susan Leslie, proud llama mama to 60 of the calmest and cuddliest camelids in South Texas. Meet some of the llamas on her 10-acre farm in Seguin and learn more about the animals in Renee Guzman's latest story. From George Washington's hoe cakes to Abe Lincoln's chicken fricassee, Paul Stevens brings you recipes that get our presidential seal of approval. They are serving great curries, noodles, tiki drinks, dumplings, and some of SA's best fried spring rolls. Find out everything you need to know about 3 great new Thai restaurants over on our website. After a promising season was wiped out due to the pandemic, Reagan sprinter Jasmine Montgomery is ready for a strong senior year. David Hinojosa brings you her story over at expressnews.com. After a budget crunch and an array of hurdles forced a 1-semester delay, Texas A&M San Antonio hosts its first home athletics event on Friday. And that's all for today. This was your Express Briefing for Friday, February 12th. My name is Luis Vasquez. Please consider becoming an Express News subscriber to get in-depth coverage on all the stories you heard today. Also, be sure to rate and review this podcast inside of your Apple Podcast app, as it really helps the show. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone.